Hey guys, thank you for joining us on this Thursday. We're gonna go straight into the Q&A. Listen, I'm doing a major upload in the background, so if there's any interference, it should be over pretty quick, within maybe 10 minutes. So my apologies. It says we have a good stream. Make sure it says, yeah, either way, we're recording, so we're good to go. Make sure we're live. Hold on one moment, please. Live stream's kicked off. There we go. Okay, here we go. All right, first, welcome. I am surprisingly okay. I got a shoulder that's about a half inch out. I'm trying to find a good osteopath, chiropractor that knows how to put in shoulders. Um, yeah, we're going to talk tomorrow, Edward, tomorrow afternoon. And I am. I need a vacation. I need to walk into a vacation soon. I apologize if there's any stream issue. We're going to be finishing an upload right now. It's three-quarters of the way done, and we should be good to go shortly. First question from Edward. Hey, Kelby, my house in Connecticut and in Florida, I have obtained a UPS box in Connecticut. Is there any way I can receive personal mail at both locations, as there are other people with both houses and they need delivery? In Connecticut, the closest mail place I can get is 15 minutes away. This is a showstopper. Well, first, Edward, let me help you to understand one thing. You receiving mail doesn't necessarily constitute whether or not you could be a state citizen. It for sure substantiates your holding an office of the U.S. person, which is the birth certificate, which is the name to which you are authorizing yourself to receive mail at some kind of store or location. So, from a standpoint of whether or not you can be successful being a state citizen, it's moot. The entirety of the program, the living in the private program, is to avoid jurisdiction and to remove the elements of charged instruments off the table. And there's all kinds of ways that you can do it. The hardest part of all this is getting people to do um, if you will, a forwarding done to the foundation with all their vendors or to your mail, your email. And that's simply communication. So if you can get your vendors to send it to an email, you're golden, number one. Number two, for consideration purposes, there's mail services out there that'll take your mail, open it, and post it to you in an email. And so that's a more expensive, but for sure, taking the time off your plate of you going down and picking up mail, they just open it, scan it, post it, email it. And there's a service fee to it, but it's worth it for a lot of people, because I know I spend sometimes quite a bit of time checking mail, and it's kind of frustrating. But again, just take your time, get it done, um, and know that you do have those choices. But it's not indicative of whether you can be free as a state citizen. But you can't have it both ways. You can't completely come off grid and be within an indictable form where you're holding the office, meaning receiving personal mail. And so that's why we go to the extreme in the living in the private. We took warrants and indictments and we reverse engineered them and created the living in the private. And part of that is you no longer receiving personal mail. So you got to think that one through. Email service to mail it to you, or find a close service. You can also have everything sent to a business or to a neighbor in the name of a foundation, and just change the directory location and change the way that they're mailing it to you. Make sure they're getting it to the name of a foundation. And then that's it. No postmaster will be able to, under pain and penalties of perjury, attest that you received personal mail at such and such address, which is one of the ways they get indictments and warrants. Hope that helps, Howard. There's a few choices there. Tomorrow afternoon. Passport submitted, all set. Issues with the bank foundation at the Bank of America. They were suggesting this foundation sounded like a spam. You mean scam? Your foundation cheat sheet link is not working. Can I get the way to do the Bank of America online option? Yeah, we'll resubmit it to you. The element of it being a scam, I've had a Bank of America account as a foundation for 17 years. I've helped establish tens of thousands of accounts, several thousand, several thousand at Bank of America. It's not a scam. You may want to open it up in Connecticut versus Florida. It might be a lot easier for you over there. Florida's a little bit of a sticky there. Next question, received a request for certified copy passport application. Been a few months now, no response yet. Is sending a second letter to them profitable? Mark, that is the longest part of the waiting in the living in the private program. Don't wait to send out your docs. Adjust the documents accordingly. You'll see that in your IRS, SSA, voters, it talks about certified copies of the passport application. Don't send that. Just do self-certification or remove that line from the docs. Get your docs out. The longest part about all this is waiting for the passport application certified to come back. Sometimes 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. I've seen 2 years. I'm sorry, Mark. I can't help that one. I've had people, both their husband and the wife, same thing, same information, same application, send out their request for certified. He gets his right away and she gets hers 12 months later. I don't know. They're not very good at doing it. And my apologies, but it's a great way to get evidence that you can put on any record of any federal case, allowing for you to have proof of subject matter jurisdiction is wanting, meaning you are a state citizen. That's absolute evidence in any court case is certified copies of your passport application, period. Okay, next question from Austin. My old passport was stolen. I applied for state citizen one at the county seat, Tennessee. They made me sign a statement saying I was never issued an SSN. You can't do that. You can't do that. So I've only heard about this one other time. And what I would do is go somewhere else and state, submit it on demand as is. If you want, we can provide a copy of a letter of a Supreme Court ruling recently passed. It's on our blog. You can create a letter on AI yourself stating that there is no social requirement. See, the requirement that you were never issued a social, which is a lie, and you cannot lie, you need to go and redact that. You need to go and say, I made a mistake. Nobody ever told you to do that. His advocates will never tell you to do that. The social is assigned to the birth certificate. The social belongs to the U.S. citizen. It does not belong to you. So not putting a social in the application does not mean you were never issued one. You notice the word and the word play that they use. So when you're doing something under the pains and penalties of perjury, it could be a mistake on your behalf. You don't want to do that. You want to remove that element. Just put something in writing, get it notarized, and send it off to the Department of State immediately. If you need help with that, let us know. But we never advise anybody to do that. Then they denied the applications because they said the cold application with the social on it. And I said, I never was issued one. You never were issued one? Does the statement sign need to be responded to before I apply again? All right, so let me read this again. They made me sign a statement saying I was never issued an SSN, which I signed with the full living man signature on it with the reservation of rights. Good. Then they denied the application because they have the cold application with the social on it. They said I was never issued one. They said I never was, and I said I never was issued. Does the statement I signed need to be responded to before I apply again? What do you mean cold one? Austin, revised, give me more data. So you had an older application on file with a social on it, then you did a new one saying which is a lie, saying I was never issued one. You were issued one. One wasn't applied to you, but you were issued one for the registered organization. So we got to correct that record really quickly. And it just applies somewhere else. And it's I'm only guessing because you had one on file, with them already, but it was within 90 days that they didn't cancel it out. Like, I'm confused right now. That's what Alex said to do. He said, just don't sign anything at this time, but didn't say whether or not they still could use the already signed statement to deny me again. If don't do it, call up the Department of State and ask them where you stand. Ask them to cancel the application completely ASAP. And that'll get to send you everything back. And that'll get your signature on that document that you don't want them to have back in your hands right now. Do it tomorrow. Nobody at his advocates ever says sign anything additional to what we give to you. I don't want anybody to get set up by these people. And this is how they bring people down. Our documents are 100% safe as is. State citizenship is 100% lawful. What they're trying to do is trick people and go after one or two people and make it scary for people. Good Google stem wave chiropractors is to do this near you stem wave. This will be amazing for the shoulder. Painless, not cheap, but effective. Boom. Edward. You're slowly becoming a very loved man. Old, not cold. Meaning one that was before you, before this one. Anyway, my apologies. I'm not understanding, maybe. But I think my last advice was best, knowing what you've told me. Get the application canceled and back in your hands ASAP with all supporting documents you sent. ASAP. And don't worry, just get it back. All right. I want to add for the people that emailed me or submitted it through Alex. Here we go. The last Q&A you mentioned to me, this is for Charles, and my support to help with putting my children into the foundation to take over becoming deceased. I did do that with receiving a response from form for a will and a response to you to ask you. So I need this kind of help doing this. We also had 30 minutes or more left on the counter, so to speak. Again, that we did not use the whole hour for. Yeah, Charles, let's do this. Let's finish up your half hour. Maybe this weekend or Monday, Tuesday at the latest, to address it. Basically, all you need to do is something like this. This is all we would do for you. A will literally is the same thing as a standard operating procedure, what to do upon the death of an individual within a foundation or within an organization, company, what have you. So if you are worried about the execution of what happens upon your death, you simply write that up. Say, I'll just go to ChatGPT or Grok or Google, Gemini or whatever, and just say, hey, look, here's the name of my foundation. Here's the name of my kids. I'm the executive director. I need a succession plan within this document. The document itself, the foundation already has it, but you may want something more clear. I need you to produce meeting minutes for a succession plan to make it basically like a will inside of a foundation to where upon my death as executive director, this is what takes place. And please make a place for a notary per California notary requirement law and add 2 witnesses to it as well. That's pretty much all you would have to do into ChatGPT. Take that, whatever you get out of that, submit it to us. You're a VIP member. We'll review it for you. And if you want us to do something for you, it's very cheap, but you can get it done. I'm just telling you, you can get it done in a few minutes on ChatGPT just based on the information I gave you. Okay. Next question. In the DMV letters that you have a choice to keep the driver's license or to remove it, you said that you held on to yours. That is correct. I hold mine in my wallet. Second question. On the 3 letters to the DMV, might I understand that all of them are being certified mail? Yes. Every 11th day, 12th day, mail the second letter, then the third letter. Same goes for the marriage and divorce. Correct. All certified mail, all signed. You do not need to do a reservation. They already have a reservation on them. Just sign them, certify mail them every 11th or 12th day from the first one. Then the same for the IRS, removal of signature, revocation of election. Yes, yes, on all the IRS letters, same thing. All right, we're done with Hawkeye. That was not for Charles, that was for Hawkeye. This is for Charles. I'm sorry, Hawkeye. I did not mean to demean our friendship by calling you somebody else's name. One brother to another. Please forgive me. Kelby, I'm wondering about crypto XRP. How do we access it if the web goes down? Well, that's why you need to have it on a hard wallet. Hard wallet, it's in your pocket. You don't need to worry about a web. And you can actually go onto a computer and see the crypto still on the hard wallet. Go onto your phone, see the crypto still on your phone. So you don't need to worry about it. Get it put on. I put it on a Trezor Model 7. That's a 10 out of 10. I'd go to Wallet Scrutiny and find a couple of devices that you like, matching models. So if you're going to get one device, buy two of them, don't buy one, so that you can always do a restore in the event of. Okay, does that make sense? All right, next question. Alex, I'm 74 and divorced, and she is a complete piece of work. Just kidding, you didn't say that. It sounds a little bit personal coming from this kid. Oh well. No, no, I'm just teasing. Come on, guys. Everybody calm down. Nobody's perfect. Anyway. um, all kinds of things stir up when you hear those words, divorce. And I think everybody on this that's listening knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, if something were to happen to me, I don't know how my children would access my assets. Should I have them as officers in my foundation? So, yeah, absolutely. Not necessarily an officer, maybe on the board. Maybe take the most mature one, make them the managing director, and build a succession plan that you all agree to and sign to in the event of your death. It's that simple. Put all your assets inside the foundation, deeds, car notes, whatever, car titles, all of that. And then you just build, again, just for the record. You can use AI. I have a name of a private foundation, tax ID, and da 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 da. I need meeting notes that sound like a will. In the event of my death, this is what I want to hear. This is what I want it to say. Please put a notary on it for this state, and please put a dual witness on it. These are the people I'm assigning to the board. These are the people that are going to take over, and that they shall not sell these assets, but they will work together as a team in order to maximize da 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 da. You can make it however you want. Next question. If we get an LLC in Delaware or Wyoming, can we put the foundation in there? You don't want to put a foundation in the LLC. You want to make the foundation the primary member of the LLC. And then I want you to go and look up the words disregarded entity in the IRS code regarding LLCs and what that does. You'll be quite happy. Would that offer us the same protection? Are there any implications if we do this? Well, you can't put a foundation in a LLC, but you can make the foundation the primary member of the LLC. Is there any other paperwork we require to attempt to put our house that we own in Canada into our foundation? I don't look. I don't know the rules. I'm not I am a broker in the state of California. I understand title for the United States of America as good as the best attorneys out there. I'm going to presume it's going to be the same everywhere and or close to it. There might be statutes or codes trying to keep you from doing it. You might have Supreme Court rulings in Canada that allow for you to do it. But I'm going to guess that you want to take one of our deed templates. If you're coming out, take one of our deed templates and start working towards taking those steps to uh, asking the right questions to your county recorder. Am I able to record in fee simple absolute? They might say no, and then you might find a Supreme Court ruling that says different. I do know people are using our foundations all over Canada, all over Australia, all over the United Kingdom. I've never personally been involved with any of those countries trying to file a property into a foundation name. I'm going to presume it's already been done. We've not heard anything to the contrary. We've not had any hiccups or issues. So be the first to get back to me and let me know how it worked out for you or what limitations you had. Hello, two questions. How do I handle my employer, UPS? You work at UPS? Do I send them one of the vendor letters? Are they going to issue my paycheck in the foundation name? No. I get a physical check every 2 weeks. Okay. So are you going through the living in the private? Are you done with the living in the private? Where are you at? If you are through the living in the private, I would fill out a new W-4 and write exempt on it. And we can supply you with a W-4 and you can hand that to them. They can say, oh, we don't accept it. We only do online ones. You're going to say, no, this is what I'm handing you as the new agreement. I'm allowed to fill out a physical form and not a digital form. Please put this on my file with the HR department. Done. Exempt is exempt. You're a state citizen. IRS will handle later, a couple, 2 or 3 years after they try to make a run up with the UPS trying to collect on further taxes. They may do that because they don't know what you did. Left hand doesn't know always what the right hand is doing, and sometimes that happens. Second question: what do I do about my FAA license? You are a airline pilot. Will they issue a license in the foundation name? No. They are listening. You were the one that took the test for the registered organization, the birth certificate. You were the one that's holding the license and the responsible party, the trustee. I changed the address on the FAA website. That's fine. What else did I do about the federal connection? So when you get done with the living in the private program, if you want, we have a series of uh, letter that you can send to somebody correcting an application and asking them to affix this letter, annex this letter to your application that you did to apply for the pilot. That's it. Sorry, I got to read stuff. Um, for the Q&A today, please. Paying annual tax on my foundation's property. Okay. You said to pay with a check by sending it. I answered this online. I'm going to answer it in person right now too. Notice. So when you're writing a check, just put in the memo under duress, and then if you want, you're just going to be writing a letter real quick. Notice to the county that your foundation is a tax exempt organization, even if they don't, even if they have statute to the contrary, allowing for you to be tax exempt on your property, that you are making this payment under duress until future remedies may occur, something to that degree. And then put that with every check. And so they're going to go, huh? And they know that when something is done under duress, that you're reserving your rights to recoup those funds after the fact. Because if you were to make a case and go to a judge, you'd be able to go back to the beginning time in which you made those payments. And you may have to go to the judge. May I please get a draft of that wording? I just gave it to you. And or pay another $100. If you want to pay us, we can do it for you, but go get AI to do it. Come on. Come on, Terry. AI is so simple. Just use my wording and use your VIP membership, load the document up, and we'll make a change if we need to for you. That way I'll save you $100. There you go. How do I access the forgiveness paperwork you mentioned this morning? Ooh, think. Send me an email. I will forward your email to my buddy and ask him to attach it. I'm sure he would be happy to. It's good stuff. But no, it's all around the company that does this, Cybernaut in Sedona, Arizona. They hook you up to all these electrodes. They teach you how to feel what it feels like right here as you learn to go through different frequencies and create frequencies with your brain. and it blows my mind how they did it. It's amazing. And I think I was in a different dimension. I can't even begin to explain it to you. I talked about it a little bit this morning on the VIP stuff, but yeah, just know it's tied to that. You may want to go to them. They're quite expensive, but they may give you a break or a discount or something. But it's amazing. They do a lot of forgiveness work, especially in couples therapy. Um, if you've cheated on your husband, don't go because it's a lie detector machine they hook you up to. So don't go to the couples therapy because everything's going to get exposed. Just FYI, foreknowledge. I don't want to hurt any marriages. I mean, you should be in full disclosure anyway in your marriage, right? And you shouldn't be cheating on your wife, right, or your husband. But just helping you understand what it is you're being hooked up to. It's the most high tech lie detector machine in the world. So if you have an ounce of gay, they're gonna know. And I had no gay. Just saying. Oh, Brian. I hope you see this, my brother. Brian's the guy. He's the main guy, one of the main guys over there. Anyway, I'm sorry that whole thing just went way too far. I should just give you the forgiveness paperwork and let you deal with all that. Anyway, God bless you, Terry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break it down that way. Um, all right, Charles addressed the crypto. All right, so this is really long stuff. So let me see. I'm gonna do my best for you. But you're asking me to do deed language and stuff right now. That's kind of hard. As a VIP member, I'm sending you my questions with prior to tomorrow's LPP. My property tax assessment for my town county just came last week. Town wants to raise the taxable value considerably after having done the same thing I did last year. It's time to get the property into the new foundation, become tax exempt. Obviously, putting a property into a foundation doesn't automatically qualify you as tax exempt. Your your property is tax exempt. Your foundation 100% is tax exempt, and anything that it owns should be tax exempt. It's to get the county to agree with that statement is always going to be the issue, and it's always going to be the fight. Just number one, and become tax exempt for the property tax. Can a property be tax exempt from property taxes only after the property mortgage is paid off? No, it can become right now. Or does the property need to be owned by a tax exempt organization to not have property taxes? Well, even a 501c3 needs to have certain qualifications according to the county recorder. It needs to have the pastor living within it, the priest living within it, what have you, in order to make the property tax exempt. And so by you living in a property owned by the foundation where you are the pastor of the foundation, if you will, the property should be tax exempt. It doesn't mean that the property needs to hold church service. And I know that they have statutes that go along with all these things that they're trying to make you feel like you can't win at this. But trust me, people are winning. But it is a fight. You're not going to just automatically make it happen for yourself. Second part of that, first, I'm curious about the language my property's warranty deed aligns with what you teach. I'll attach the deed verbiage in this message if you can tell me that it's all good. If I need to have his advocate's paperwork deed done on it. When we conveyed this property into our private and revocable express trust 3 years ago, we quit claimed and deeded the property. So it currently does not, it's not in our names, but the current deed allows for this kind of language to flow for analysis purposes. Considerable amount of stuff I got to read here. It's not going to make sense to a lot of people. So you have, in consideration of $1 and more, that's still under the jurisdiction in the Federal Reserve, lawful money for the United States. You actually stated lawful money within the court. Hereby grant, release the parties, the second part, their distributees and assignees forever that tract or parcel of land situated in the town of da 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 da, county of da da da, and the state of da 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 da. And being part of lot da 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 township da 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 da, beginning at the point, okay, and then describing meets and bounds. Those are meets and bounds. That's good. And you keep going on meets and bounds. with the naming of streets and the amount of fee, and it keeps going down till the end of the paragraph. Subject to all covenants, easements, and restrictions of record, if any, affecting said premises, being that intending to by the same premise conveyed to the property of the first part warranty two deeds. You said it twice. Dated October 20th, 2014, recorded New Orleans, County Clerk's Office, October 27th, in Lieber 848 of records, page 9, This covenant is not made pursuant to any matrimonial action brought under New York, I'm just trying to not say stuff that's personal. Property address, tax billing address. First, that the parties of the second part shall quietly enjoy said premises. Second, that said the party of the first part will forever warrant the title to said premise. Third, that the compliance with section 13 of lien law, the grantors will receive, consider. Okay, so look, you're going to have a difficult time putting this language on an R deed for yourself. Is it important that you still do a deed to bring your home private? 100%. I don't know why, but I didn't see vesting. There may have been, I did skip a bunch when I thought I was only discussing the meets and bounds, but I did see the style of money, the grantors and the grantees, meaning the trust. And I know you're picking up a lot of this language within the deed for whatever reason. I've never seen that done on a deed. I've done thousands of them. So that's interesting to me. It's interesting that it was recordable subject to those, contracts. But the bottom line is, my question to you is, what's the vesting? Obviously, you're worried about easements, even though I didn't read about any easements. I almost read about a contract that could be looked at like easements, but they're not. So my question, do you have easements? Do you have mineral rights, water rights? And you can answer that question for me on the Q&A. If you have easements, mineral rights, water rights, you can easily take this language and put it on an appropriate deed to bring the land into the private. Because this isn't private. You're completely under the jurisdiction of the United States within the wording of your deed. We could do it for you and recreate the deed private. And then you can record that. And you don't even need to, you can even do like a deed correction. But if they make you sign a new deed, that's fine. We can do a new deed as well. And keep it. If it were me, I'd take it out of the trust. I don't know what style of trust you have. I'd put it in the foundation name, and then I would make the foundation the beneficiary of the trust. And then there's like a lot of things I do. I would suggest get a consultation. I mean, there's a lot more to be talked about when you're melding trusts with foundations. And depending on the state, is going to be the variance of whether you can just do a corrective deed. And if you are able to do a corrective deed, they may not accept the style of the deed. If you're able to do a sale from one trust to a foundation, of which is the beneficiary of all things. And there's a lot of reasons why you want to use a foundation versus a trust as ownership from a tax exempt purposes standpoint. There's a lot of things to discuss, and maybe consider a consultation or continue to ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer. Question number 2, speaking of property tax grievance, is there any way to get the tax grievance form that I can argue that the property is now actually exempt? So when something's held in trust, it doesn't always imply that it's tax exempt. If it's held in a church, it is. I know trusts, by and large, do not have to file a tax return. Doesn't mean necessarily that it is property tax exempt. It's the color of the law that allows us to utilize our church to do the same form and function they do with 501c3s as a tax exempt organization. and it's the familiarity that completes it after a compelling argument. Third question. Currently, New York State Taxation and Finance has recorded a tax debt warrant at my county clerk's office in the name of myself and my wife, which we have a third-party firm working to get the debts discharged. Who's doing it? Who's doing the discharge? Since our home is currently recorded at the county in the name of our private irrevocable trust, why are they able to put a lien on your property in your name against a property held in trust? That's why you want to put it in a foundation. Okay? That's the exact reason why, ladies and gentlemen, we want our land in a foundation. I know people talk land trust. I get it. But when you have the name of the trust in your names, it's a doctrine that they use that gives them the ability to lean up onto properties that are held in trust in your name. Because the action of the amount of money prior to the recording of the property in the trust name shows that you're basically using it to hide assets from quote unquote the state. And I'm blanking on the term, but it'll come to me in a second. The point being, if it's held in a foundation, they can't possibly know who owns it. And they can't possibly lien upon it just because you sold it to a foundation name. Just take that into consideration. And to finish your question, I'll read the second part of the question. Since our home is currently recorded in the county in our name of our private irrevocable trust, which the county only has certificate of trust for and not the entire trust indenture form. Is it a registered trust? Let me know that. Would it be okay to gift or convey the property into the name of our new unincorporated foundation named applied I wouldn't want to step foot. So if there's already a lien in the county recorder on the property, recording it in a new name is not going to remove the lien. It would have if you were to able to get it into the county recorder prior to. So is the lien for property taxes? I'm not sure. I know it says speaking of property tax grievance, but I didn't expressly hear you say that. Is the lien for property taxes? And if it is, if it were me, I wouldn't really be worried about the discharge. I'd simply pay the property tax up and then go and do it under duress and go after the grievance. And if you're trying to discharge it, you need to use the right people to do that. Very few people know how to properly do that. We do have a name and number of a guy that does that. We do not do that ourselves. I still receive personal mail at my home 3 weeks after USPS received my letter to refuse and return mail that address. See, that's the hardest part about what we're doing is getting people to get their mail forwarded to the United States Post Office or UPS store. United States Post Office just does not do a very good job at the forwarding. Do I need to send a USPS second letter? I would just go down to the postmaster in person. I would actually, once you get listen, this is your answer. Once you get your vendors handled, where they're emailing everything to you, or whether they are now forwarding all your mail, so call your vendors, say this is my new mail. I would put glue on the inside of the box and make it so they can't. And it just put no mail accepted at this location, or give them the box back until you are done with making sure all the forwards are taken care of, even, because they will make that mistake. And trust me when I tell you, all you have to do is put numbers on your house, and Amazon will still deliver in a foundation name all day long. So you can receive foundation deliveries to the house. Get rid of the box that they own. That box, United States Post Office owns your mailbox. Have them come pick it up or glue it shut or deliver it back to them. They're going to say they don't want it. Say, can I get that in writing? And you're done. LPP question. No, that's it. Here we go. Anything over here? car rental properties be put under a foundation as tax exempt? Car rental properties can yes. Rental, any kind of property can, but the bottom line is, are you going to get it exempt? The reason why you want to do the rental properties is so that you can do your Airbnb tax free, not necessarily the property taxes. So you're not paying taxes on the properties themselves to the United States for the rentals. So that rent that you get, or the Airbnb rent that you get, is tax free. Don't worry about the property tax. Everybody's going for the property taxes if that's the holy grail. Secure your asset, do the proper deed, which secures your asset and makes the income from the asset tax exempt. That's 101. Hey, Kelby, has it helped anyone open mineral mining claim with BLM Oregon under their foundation? I don't know about that, my brother. You're going to be the first. Let me know. Sorry, Brian. When getting a notice of jury duty, is there anything I need to be on the lookout that would compromise my status? They are asking me to do not fill out a questionnaire. Jamie, make a request. We have letters for you, and every time they mail you a letter, you're going to send them a letter back. New date. You have yet to answer my questions. I am operating in honor. Would love to go to jury duty. I just want to make sure I qualify as a state of the union citizen. Please address my questions first. And that's allowing you to operate in honor by mailing them off a letter asking them to substantiate their position with you as a state citizen to hold you accountable to jury duty, which they never can. We have letters for you to support. Final notice letters do not have a reservation of rights statement or below the autograph line. Should I add it at all? Final notice letters to what? All agencies. On our letters, Terry, it's a great question. I got to remember what I was thinking when I was doing it. There really is no need for a reservation. I do it just because. But the reality is, and let me know what final notice letters you're talking about. It's really not needed on our letters. Just FYI. But if you want, go ahead. If it makes you feel better, you can put them on. I am the only officer in my foundation. If something were to happen to me, how would my heirs access my assets? Do they need to be officers? They can be, but Connie, in the beginning of the Q&A, we addressed this. So go back and listen to the beginning part of this Q&A. AI will help you out with that really easily. Our foundation properties considered churches, thus falling under RLU IPA protection. I have no idea what that is. Next question. We want to buy land soon, and I'm wondering if we should finish the LPP first to buy land. It doesn't matter. To make it easier to get the land in fee simple absolute, one has nothing to do with the other, Joe. Or do we get it by means we can re-sign the paperwork later? Sorry, people have to ask this question before I forgot what you said. Yeah, Joe, purchasing land is one thing. The recordation of the title is another thing. Your status has nothing to do with either, so don't worry about it, okay? Just get done whatever you need to get done. Once you make the acquisition of the land, come see us on getting the deed dialed in so you're good to go in a foundation date. Can a property in a 1031 exchange be moved to a foundation? Absolutely. Sent my passport app, SOS, with my full name. Doesn't matter who owns the property. You know what I'm saying? I know that people are taking into consideration they're trying to avoid taxes on these 1031s. You're going to have no tax anyways when the next time they move the property. You know what I mean? And if you're going through the LPP, any taxable event is going to be moot for you as a state citizen. Sent my paperwork app to Secretary of State with my full name. Did you go through the United States Post Office, Sarah? Including maiden and married, received a follow-up inquiry, and SOS wants a copy of another government-issued ID with both my last names. My DL has only my married name. I really want to go by my full name. What do I do? Whatever your legal name is and whatever name is on your birth certificate, I can't really help you. Sometimes they screw up. Sometimes they make mistakes. Put the name that's on the driver's license. Sometimes they put only the name that's on the BC. Sometimes if you got an old passport and the right name is on there, you can use that. The passport is considered identification. I can't really help you on that one. If you need to change your name, go legally change your name. It can be done quickly, and then that's the name that you would utilize. You would show your birth certificate or passport, and you would show a legal name change, and that's what they would do with it. Can a foundation property house be leased to cover its upkeep? Yeah, absolutely. We have private lease agreements you can give to the renters so they can't play games with you. Pretty cool. Thank you, Cal. Thank you, Joseph. I have issues with sales tax because I don't have proof. I don't have proof of what. So would it be wise to fill out an application for tax exempt organization with the New York State Department and Tax and Finance? That way, when I purchase something or donate with the foundation, et cetera, I can show a form ST-119 exempt organization. Oh. So you're trying to make purchases at the foundation and you're trying to avoid taxes with companies. Yeah, that's actually pretty easily done. It's about a 50-50, sometimes Amazon will go for it, sometimes they won't. Depends on who's receiving it. Um, we have a letter that you are in fact tax exempt and you can make the demand of the tax exempt and hold them accountable for all taxes that they collect from you as an organization who is tax exempt under IRS code. And so if you're a VIP member, we have a letter that you can utilize with those organizations. I wouldn't apply for any tax exempt strategies with New York State. I created a feline rescue documents using registered mail. Can that name be used to create a foundation to buy land in the future? Yes. It's got to be a unique name that's not a registered trademark, but yes, to receive your tax ID number. Can you explain to me about how, when registering property into my foundation, example, my car with the DMV, isn't the foundation now vulnerable because it's now registered with the DMV? No. Foundation is not vulnerable at all. As a matter of fact, it's a layer between somebody suing you and somebody suing the foundation. And it's a layer and somebody being able to get a judgment. They're not going to be able to take the car. If you got in an accident, it was your fault. They wouldn't be able to take the car. They obviously would sue you. Your insurance would pick up that information. They're not going to be able to tie your house in anything because your foundation's in it. This is why we do all this stuff. It's what we do is asset protection on steroids by far. And sorry, hey Kay, I accidentally unmuted you. Don't you start talking, Kay. By the way, how you doing? Um, anyway, so when you have asset protection on steroids where they can't sue a foundation, they don't even know, they found out where you live, they looked at who owns the property, it's a foundation name, and I mean, think about it. And they can't find the registered who to process serve for that foundation. They'll never be able to take that asset. It's a beautiful thing. I didn't create a bank account, etc., and I did not register it via DBA, via state. Good. Don't. Bank account's okay though. I'm referring to step 7, LPP notice letters to governor, sheriff, SSA. Okay, remember, Terry, re-input the question with this statement, please, just so I remember what the question was. Can I still call the Department of State and cancel the application and get returned even though I already got the denial letter? Well, generally, read the denial letter. A lot of times these denial letters will come true and then it'll say, and you have 90 days to substantiate a different position, different claim. So it's still open. You may want to call them and find out if it's closed, or if it's still open, waiting for you to respond in 90 days. Nevertheless, retract the application formally in writing with a notary on it. To just say, I'd like to retract this application formally, and I'd like the return of the application to me at this address. Da, 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 da. Please cancel the application completely and return the application to this address with all supporting paperwork. Done. That's a good position for you to start to get your name off that paperwork, unless you were never issued a social security number. Are private lease agreements for a foundation or a house on the HISA website? No, it's something you ask Alex for. Do y'all successfully get the DOS to put your state nationality on the passports? Okay, John, great question. So a lot of times, I gotta stand up. A lot of times people are looking for the um, acknowledgement right there on the driver's license, right there on the passport, on all these documents. Just don't worry about that. They're all the same. When you go to court and subject matter jurisdiction is trying to be proved, they are always bringing the application to the court. They want to see what you did on the application. So the only thing that matters is the application. So when you're saying, does it say nationality? Absolutely says nationality on the application. And so your application reads as State of the Union citizen, denying being a U.S. citizen, affirming your allegiance to the Declaration. They're going to get certified copies of all that. And they're going to go, oh, crap, not a U.S. citizen. And it's sufficient. And so you have your offer, which is the DS-11 and the explanatory statements. You have the acceptance of your status, which is the passport. Then you have evidence, material fact evidence in any court case. Evidence, and it's considered evidence. Normally, you'd have to make an argument of relevant, whether it's the relevancy of something being evidence in a case. This is evidence because it's got a federal seal showing it's certified from the federal government. So it is evidence now of your status and standing. And that's why we request a certified copy of your passport application through the Living in the Private program. Last week, I asked you about signing bank accounts for an LLC account. I was going to sign by first, last name, manager, XYZ LLC. He said, put down a sum to the ARR. B of A was not allowing the signature. Of course they weren't. I said, I guarantee I said, if you go back and listen and try to make it small, kind of hide it, pull it on your lap. I never am like, all rights reserved, non-assumptive, real big. It doesn't happen. The other thing you can do is uh, fill it out at home, mail it to them with a super small stamp. This is non-assumptive, all rights reserved without prejudice. ARR, non-assumptive, all rights reserved without prejudice. Um, and so there's unique ways of trying to get it done. Of course, BVA is not going to just let you make your reservations right on an application, have no responsibility whatsoever. This is why we got to do what we do. We do what they do to us. Okay. Where they have little writing on your checks on the bottom of the signature line check, authorized agent, where they uh, have the super tiny wordsmithing, do you understand the charge instrument? No, people don't know what the word understand means. People don't know what charge instrument means. They play the games with us, so we got to make sure that we're protected, and that non-assumptive is critical. So at worst case scenario, I may have said sign non-assumptive in cursive. So your signature does not match that of your passport, that of your driver's license. So my driver's license says non-assumptive. My passport, I signed it non-assumptive, and I signed. They always say sign the way you signed on your ID, and I show them, and that freaks them out. They don't know what to do with that. So that's why you got to make it all the way around. Get it on your IDs. Get it everywhere. All right, guys. I have a mother-in-law birthday I got to attend to. I know y'all had a lot of great questions tonight. I appreciate it. It's about 50 people total on between the two sides. God bless you guys. Looking forward to helping you guys out. Let me say one quick thing. There's all kinds of things that are being blown up right now in the American Assembly's arena. And I am going to do a special on what a national is. Once again, to prove the point that an American national, a state national, a national of the United States are all possessions of the corporation. And that when you make your allegiance to being one of those, you're making allegiance to being a party to the federal territory and ownership of the corporation. We need to correct our status to being state citizens across the board. So as those organizations, the assemblies are very important. The republic, very important. But your personal status is more important than any of those. Go out and tell your friends about his advocates and look for the coming promotion regarding me directly talking and answering questions about the term national, because the people that are promoting the word national, the word American national, are either an agent, a devil, or a party to a structure and system that has zero support legally and lawfully, and they just don't want to cave and give in. Okay. I'm telling you, we have the Supreme Court rulings. Go to hisadvocates.org. You can download this book for free now. Free. You can buy a hard copy on Amazon, $17.76. You can buy this book or download it for free on hisadvocates.org. So important that you guys understand the term national. I'm fed up with hearing that it's okay. It's not. I fell for it too. But once you understand, we have the courts, we have the law, we have the founding fathers behind what we are doing. That movement has a big fat donut in legal or lawful authority behind those words, other than United States Code 8 USC 1101, 821, and 822, which all points it back to public law, which is corporate congresses trying to take people's rights that were trying to be state citizens and creating the term national and make people sign these affidavits, becoming nationals of the United States, becoming an American national, becoming a state national, national being the key word. And guys, all you're doing is making allegiance to the federal government. Period. It's a trick. It's a trick. God bless our country. We are the greatest country in the world. And I want to see this republic reinvented like it was in 2012. I want to see it launched. I'm a party to the republic, but you personally have to be in republic. And if you're a national or you are a U.S. citizen, you are not free. Period. God bless you guys. Have a great week. I'll see you next Monday on the next Q&A. And I hope that you have a great weekend. Enjoy your family.